Hello. How is everybody tonight? What we got tonight? We got 5 people in here. Nice. Hi, guys. How are you all doing? Hey, Peter. Hello. This is just kind of a surprise live stream. I kind of talked about it yesterday that I might do a live stream tonight just to kind of just say hello and end off Titanic month. Just thought I'd come in and see what's going on. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me? 9 people. Hello. Hi, Peter. Hi, Christian. Hi, Ace. Hi, Tornado. Beyond History. Hello. Whoa, there's 20 people now. Holy cow. Evolving. Hi, Sam. I came. Lisa D. Welcome. Hi, Lisa. How are you tonight? 38. Whoa. Pizza Man. Hi. Little Good Doctor. Hi. We might have to enable slow mode. Yourself. Hi from Egypt. Hello. Okay, yeah, I'm turning on slow mode. Let's see. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Edit. There we go. Live chat. Let's set it for 30 seconds for now. Save. Wow, a lot more people jump in here quicker than I thought they would. Maritime historian Sam, do you remember me? Yes, I do. How are you? Whoa, 61. Dang. Beyond History, your quality is good. Thank you. Okay, we got 30 seconds in for slow mode. Got to get the mocha. Tornado, rest in peace, non-slow mode. I'm sorry, but I have to use a slow mode. Otherwise, then I can't keep up with all the chats. Python, I can't pronounce your name. Python, it's your birthday. Hello, happy birthday. King, hello. Carl, love the videos. Give me a shout. Hi, Carl. How are you? Patriot Child, I love your content. Thank you so much. Coffee is goat. I think you mean coffee is great. Noon, hi from the Netherlands. Hello from West Virginia. How are you? Spook, hey Sam, I have a question. Have you ever tried caviar? I have not. That's too rich for my blood. Let's see. Corey, Sam, I made a shout out video for you on my channel if you want to check it out. Thanks, Corey. Post a link to it in the comments section for this live chat once it gets archived, and I will take a look. Patriot, I love staying the Titanic, and your videos have added more to what I know. Thank you. Anthony, hi from New York. Hi from West Virginia. How are you? King, your videos are great to watch. Thank you. Tyler, hello from Australia. Wow, Australia, that's amazing. Abraham, what is your favorite ship besides Titanic? That's an easy one. Queen Mary. I really am worried about the Queen. She's not in good shape in Long Beach right now. William Thomas, love your Titanic and other ship content. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hot. Hey, Sam, I have a question. Where did the Titanic break in half? Well, that is a question that is highly debated, but from what we know, somewhere around the 3rd funnel. I'm kind of more in favor of the theory that it broke in just in front of the 3rd funnel, but some people think it broke like right underneath the 3rd funnel. You know, that's a highly debated topic. Dylan, love the Titanic series. I've learned so much. Thanks, Dylan. Israel, I hope Queen Mary is saved before it's too late. I do too. Fallout Girl, watching Titanic right now. What a better way to end April. That's awesome. Hi, Fallout Girl. Ridge, hi, Sam. Sending love from Cebu, the Philippines. Thank you so much, man. Hello from West Virginia. Much love from here. Lori, super sticker. Thank you so much. $3. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dustin, I love your videos. Thank you. Maritime historian Sam, can you shout out my video? And also Queen Mary is going for auction. I will take a look at it, and yeah, we might be able to arrange something. Come into my Discord. That's the best way to actually try to talk to me. Send me a DM. I'm not crazy active in the Discord, but I do try to look through them, and I try to respond when I can. It's just I get busy and I forget about things. On days that I'm not working on videos, I want to go into the Discord to hang out, but then I have life and adulting stuff to do, you know, things that we all have to do. So I don't get on the computer as much as I would like. Lucas, save the Queen Mary. Absolutely. Life of Mind. Hello from the UK, more specifically Chelmsford, where the Marconi radio system was developed. That's incredible, man. Thank you so much. Patriot Child, super chat. Thank you so much. $25. That's incredible. Would love to see some videos on some of the survivors. That is coming. So essentially what I'm going to do now, I don't know who gave me the comment, but I did read it, was don't leave us hanging and tell us what happened to the Titanic, like the Titanic story after the sinking. I'm going to dedicate a whole other series to the fallout of the Titanic disaster. I'm sure you guys know. Actually, let me find it real quick. Titanic newspaper. I thought it might be good to do, and because people don't really know that much about this guy, or this boy. It's a real famous photograph from the Titanic disaster. But honestly, when you look into it, you really don't find that much about him. But I thought I would do a dedicated video on the kid from the famous picture holding up the sign that says Titanic disaster, great loss of life. I thought that might make an interesting story since people don't really know that much about him. From what I can remember, I looked him up a long time ago. I believe he was killed in the First World War. I need to go back and do some research again because that was a long time ago and I could be getting that wrong. But I remember that rings a bell. Thank you so much again, Patriot Child, for the 25. That's incredible. Lisa D. Hey, I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. Never surrender. Did the Titanic have damage control parties? I'm assuming that you mean like did they have like are you talking about like the White Star Line, you know, running basically politics to try to help deal with the Titanic disaster? I'm sure they did. I don't know all the specifics about it, but I do know that I'm sure there was a lot of, you know, try to keep the White Star Line looking good going on. Seth, he did die in the war. Okay, thank you. Abraham, do you like baseball? I enjoy playing baseball, but I do not enjoy watching. Okay? I cannot get into it. I cannot get into I just can't get into the sport, you know? I enjoy playing sports more than I actually enjoy watching them. You know, I feel just like that about NASCAR. I think NASCAR is awesome, but watching it on TV gets pretty boring because it's just cars going around in a circle. But when you're at the race, I had the privilege to go. I was at Danica Patrick's first Daytona 500. That was so much fun. That was so much fun. Tornado, the boy in the Titanic great loss of life picture was named Ned Parfell. He died in World War I while serving British in France. He was 22. I thought that's what happened to him. But that's really sad that he passed away in the war. But I think that I was thinking about making a dedicated video about him because, you know, the population as a whole really doesn't know that much about him. $5 super chat from Tana. Thank you. Is it true that there were animals on the Titanic? And if true, please do a video. That is on the list. Thank you for the 5. That is true that there were animals on the Titanic. When it comes to what type of animals, I'm not really sure. I know there were a lot of dogs. I believe there was a cat. I'm not really sure. But yes, I will do some research into that, and I will do a video on it at some point. Thank you for the 5, by the way. Captain Alex, are you making a reference to the Titanic movie? Marathon, please tell us a little bit about your background and how you became interested in the Titanic. Well, honestly, I am not. Let me just mute that. There we go. Essentially, I'm not really a history. I never studied history in college or anything. History is completely a self-passion of mine. And I became interested in the Titanic when I was around 6 or 7. And went to my grandparents' house and they had it on TV. And it was the James Cameron movie. And I remember this vividly. I could paint a picture. It's so vivid in my mind. But I remember on the TV, it was the scene in the James Cameron film where Lightoller was talking to Captain Smith. And he said, "Should we get the women and children into the boat, sir?" And I asked my mom or my grandfather or somebody, "Who is that? You know, what is this?" And my mom or whoever it was said, "That's Titanic." And I'm like, "What's Titanic?" And that was it. That was it. Let's see. Dylan, can you make a Lusitania week in May? Actually, I already have other plans for the week of May. For May, like during the Lusitania week. I wasn't on the list, but I have been considering doing a series of videos on the Lusitania. However, they will not be for the anniversary, like the anniversary timeline. I've already got something else going on. But yes, I will do something on the Lusitania at some point. I already do have a video on that on my channel, by the way. Hey, Sam, wish me luck. I have a softball game tonight. Well, good luck, Hannah. Everybody wish Hannah a good game at softball tonight. Goosey, hi, Sam. Were the watertight doors closed in Scotland Road? I believe they were. But now, as far as where in Scotland Road they had watertight doors, I'm not really sure. I'm sure there were watertight doors in there to a certain degree. I don't know. I know that the main watertight doors were located at the bottom of the ship where the boiler rooms were. Those are where the main watertight doors were. Now, I don't know for certain if there were watertight doors in Scotland Road. I don't know that for certain. But I do know that all around the Titanic, they had basically these steel doors. And I believe they had to be on the deck above, but they had to turn a crank and it would shut the door. Like, it wasn't just the main watertight doors on the switch on the bridge that you needed to deal with to make each compartment watertight. You had to go and crank watertight doors that are throughout the ship. I am assuming there were some on Scotland Road, but I do not know for sure. But I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that there wouldn't be. Let's see. Huck, hi Sam. It's May already in the UK. Oh yeah, it is. Because you guys are 5 hours ahead. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, it would be already. Let's see, John, any more collabs with Rachel coming up? Eventually we will. My sister actually lives out of state. She's married and she lives with her husband, but she periodically comes in and visits and hangs out with the family, and that's when we do our videos. Let's see. Israel, how much time do you think the Russian submarine by the Queen Mary has? Okay, for those of you who don't know, there's a Soviet submarine sitting right beside the Queen Mary. And as far as I know, it's completely abandoned. I believe they stopped doing tours of that submarine in 2015, and the whole thing's just been left to rot. As far as I know, I think the submarine's flooded. You know, I mean, you can take, I got a little bit of a look at it when I was there, and I'm like, I bet you anything that submarine's flooded and is basically a wreck at this point. If it's still floating, you know, it could be floating, it could be sitting on the seabed or on the land underneath the water. I just don't know. I do not know the condition of it, but it does not look good. Alexandria, would you ever travel to Belfast? I am going to travel to Belfast as soon as the world calms down, you know, and everything kind of gets back to normal. Oh, so in speaking of the whole world stuff going on right now, I do have a story for you guys. About 6 or 7 months ago, I volunteered to go into this trial program for a COVID-19 vaccine before the vaccine was officially available. And they told me that there were going to be 30,000 participants, and that I had a 1 in 3 chance of getting a placebo shot, like a fake shot. And I'm like, okay, so I did it. And then that night after I got the shot, I went home and I actually thought I felt sick. You know, I went to bed and everything. I went to bed early, and I found out the other day, because I need to know if I got the vaccine or not, because if I didn't get the vaccine, I need to go get the real vaccine. I need to know if I got the placebo or not. Turns out I did. I was in the 1 in 3 that got the fake shot. And I'm like, so that whole thing about me feeling sick was all in my head. And they're like, yeah, that placebo effect is real. It really is. So I just got my first COVID shot the other day. That was fun. I thought I was all done with that. Pablo, you should do a video on the SS Great Britain. It's on the list. Christopher, hi, could you say happy birthday to my friend? She just turned 20 an hour ago, and she loves the Titanic. Her name is Chloe. Hi, Chloe, and happy birthday. Happy big 20. It's the big 20. I'm about to turn the big 30. Aaron, hey, Sam, do a video on the MV Doña Paz. She was a ferry that hit the oil ship. I do know all about the Doña Paz, and I am going to do a video about that. Let's see. King, hey Sam, do you think that Jack would survive in the movie Titanic? Yes, I do. He could have fit on that door. Tier, very cool how I explained the placebo effect and how it works. Thank you. Yeah, that was a whole lot of fun that I found out that I got the fake shot. Ugh. RMS Titanic fan, what if the Titanic hit the iceberg in the middle? I get asked that question a lot, and it all depends on how fast the Titanic was going, if she could have survived a head-on impact or not, you know? If the Titanic was traveling at the speed that it was and it just slammed into the iceberg head-on, the ship would have had massive structural damage, and the Titanic, in my opinion, would have just dropped like a rock, you know? Leslie, Historic Travels, the submarine is flooded a bit and was closed in 2015 for those reasons. Okay. Leslie, do you know if the submarine is floating or if it's sitting on anything underneath? Like, do you know if it's actually floating like the Queen Mary is? Scott, do you think Titanic Honor and Glory will ever be released? I hope so. And I'm going to stay hopeful. Yes, it will be released. I'm a little worried about my models, though. I still have 3 models on order with them, and I just saw their store went down. So I'm a little worried about that. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, these models that I use in my videos. So Titanic, I have Lusitania, and I have Britannic. All of these models came from Titanic Honor and Glory store. But if you check their website, the store is down. So, and I still have 3 models on order from them that I have not received yet. Epic Mate, Sam, do you think maybe you can make a video on the Empress of Ireland? I will. I am definitely going to get to the Empress of Ireland. Nicholas, Mr. Travels, what would happen if the Titanic, if she didn't hit the iceberg? She would have continued on her life. it would have been iffy if she would have made it through World War I, but Olympic did. So I can't imagine Titanic not making it through World War I. Excuse me. She probably would have served as a troop ship. So yeah, stuff like that. I think Titanic would have had a very long career, and she probably would have been scrapped in the 30s. Show, have you watched the Titanic Inquiry, Crew of the SS California? It's an hour-long film. I have, and it's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible. Corey, 5 super chat. Thank you so much. I found the link. I wrote it down. I'll send it in the comments in this video after the stream. Make sure to look for it. I don't do shout outs often. All right, Corey. Thank you so much, man. And thank you for the 5. Spook, hey Sam, would you be planning to board the Titanic 2? I've talked about that a lot. As far as the Titanic 2 goes, I'm not a big fan of them building the ship, because if they even do it, because he's been talking about it since 2012, 2013. So I don't even think it's going to happen. But you got to remember, the Titanic it's basically a dinghy by modern day ship comparisons. It's such a small ship. The Queen Mary's bigger, and the Queen Mary is a small ship compared to modern standards. So, and you can't build a replica of the Titanic and it be legal in the modern era. The Titanic is a steamship from 100 years ago. You got to remember that. So anything that he built would just look like the Titanic on the outside. It'd be a completely different ship on the inside, minus a few key rooms like the Grand Staircase or whatever. So it wouldn't be true to life. It would be a ship that looks like the Titanic on the outside, trying to capitalize on the Titanic name. And I really don't like that. It's a history. It's a tragedy. I'm more in favor of them building a building that looks like Titanic and make it a museum, so it could be more true to life. And then, I think that would be more of an honorable thing to do about the Titanic story. I hope I'm making sense. You can't build a replica of the Titanic, have it seaworthy, and it'd be like the ship. There we go. Tier, thank you, $10. That's awesome. Can you do a series on the sinking of the Yarmouth Castle disaster? Yarmouth? I feel like I've heard that name before. I'm sure somebody's asked me about it, but I am not that familiar with it. Let me take a look real quick. Let me see if I can jar my memory. Got to bring up the old Google. Let's copy that in. Yarmouth, built in the Evergreen, was an American steamship who was lost in a devastating fire in 1965. I don't think anybody's asked me about this. I am going to put this in the notes because this looks extremely interesting. Thank you so much for the comment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's on the list. Hey guys, do you guys think that I should make a t-shirt in my merch store that says it's on the list, since I seem to say that all the time? I think I should make that a t-shirt. It's on the list. And paste. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Danielle, hey Sam, can you do a video on the Freedom Ship concept? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the Freedom Ship going to be that 1 mile long vessel? That 1 mile ship that was basically going to be like a giant city. Wasn't that what it was? Let's see. Yes. Let's see. TR, the Herrick's of the Yarmouth Castle occupied with the cowardly captain leaving the ship first would make an amazing series. Wow, there's more people. There's a lot more cases of captains abandoning ship, or more than I thought. Off the top of my head, I think of the Oceanus, I think of the Concordia, but really, the captain of that ship dodged it as well? Seriously? Huh. I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Huck, Sam, I will be making 4 videos about the Lusitania make. Good luck, man. That's awesome. Justin, have you ever thought about doing a video on the ships lost in Lake Superior? Great Lakes series of ships. Yes, I will be looking into that. The only reason we've been kind of lulling on other ships is because we were in Titanic month. So, yeah, it's on the list. Merch would be fun. On the list. It's on the list. I need, you know what I need? I need some kind of a good picture or something, like some kind of an animation or maybe a meme or something that, like, it's on the list and have something to go along with it. That's kind of what I need to figure out. I need to talk to my sister about that. Israel. So Sam, how are your models holding up? Titanic is a little worse for wear. We're missing a rudder. I lost one of the bridge wing. I lost part of the bridge wing right there. The 4th funnel's got a huge crack and I had to super glue it. Missing a propeller too. So the other models are in better shape. Leslie, the submarine is sold to an anonymous buyer. I'm supposed to move out a long time ago. The submarine for the Queen Mary. Okay, I didn't know that. Let's see. Hot. Sam, I got a serious question. Okay, serious question. How many compartments did the iceberg open up on the Titanic? Okay, the iceberg opened up 5 compartments, very bad. 5 compartments on the Titanic were breached severely. But what doomed the Titanic? Well, technically Boiler Room 6 doomed the Titanic, but Boiler Room 5 was its death. Boiler Room 6 basically had the Titanic in a very dangerous situation, but when Boiler Room 5 was compromised, there really was no hope to save the ship. If Boiler Room 6 flooded, the Titanic was going to sink, no question. But the only reason I think that if up to Boiler Room 6 had been damaged by the iceberg, so 5 compartments had been breached, I think the Titanic might have had a shot because they could have focused their efforts on trying to prevent Boiler Room 6 from flooding. But because Boiler Room 5 was flooding as well, they had to work in there and deal with that. And because of that, they lost Boiler Room 6, which sealed the fate of the Titanic. B, thank you. I can't pronounce your name. But $5. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. No question, though. Wish you'd ask me a question, man. 3-2. Which will you do first, Costa Concordia or Andrea Doria? Costa Concordia will be the next ship we cover because that was actually a question in my community tab. So, Padme, I'm here. Busy day, lol. Well, trust me, I've had a busy day as well. RB, yeah, there was 2 watertight doors in Scotland Road next to the entrance of Boiler Room 4. You can go see it yourself on Titanic Island. Okay, I figured there would be because I can't imagine there being a hallway that spans the entire length of the ship and there not be watertight doors in there, Ridge Loan, do a video about the Sol Ferry. I am going to cover that. Phil, Historic Travels, when will you do a video on the Mount Temple and other ships that tried to come to the Titanic's aid, please? That is on the list. I will get to it as soon as I can. I've got so many things to cover. As far as the Titanic series, the next episode is when I start the new timeline, it's going to be covering the events post the sinking. So right after the iceberg went down, we're going to finish talking about the night of April 15th. Then I'm going to jump to the Carpathia and talk about what the Carpathia was doing because that needs to be its own video. And then, yeah, we're going to go from there. Ridge Alone, do a video about the Sol Ferry. I am going to get to that. King, hey, Sam, do a video on the RMS Empress of Ireland. I am going to cover that as well. Lisa D, what was the average price of a stateroom in first class? I have not looked that up, but I remember in the James Cameron Ghost of the Abyss documentary, they said that in April 1912, in the most luxurious rooms on the ship, you would pay, I think, $3,000 to $4,000 to book your passage. But now he doesn't clarify if that's 1912 money or if that's modern day comparison to money. I would probably guess it would be 1912 money, but still, that sounds like a huge amount of money. Because think about it, a new car was $100 back then. So I need to look that up. That's the best answer I can give on that at the moment. Andy 5, thank you so much. Here for a coffee. If Titanic sinking, here for a coffee. If the Titanic sinking was like Andrea Doria in terms of staying afloat, would it make a more epic story? A what if scenario? Ooh, interesting. A what if scenario. Well, you see, the thing about the Titanic that makes it so interesting was the way that the Titanic sank, and the story that went around it. With the RMS Titanic, I mean, you basically have a whole city on here, and this ship went down so slowly. Like corrugations, it would cost about $100,000 in today's money. Yeah, if I'm assuming that he was talking about 1912 currency for that question about the stateroom costs. But yeah, $3,000 to $4,000. That's what they say in Ghost of the Abyss. So I am imagining that's 1912 money. But remember, a car was $100 back then. So that is an astronomical amount of money for back then. I believe Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, the wireless operators, didn't they make like $20 a week, $20 a month? It was something like that. Let's see. All right. I completely lost my train of thought. What in the world was I just talking about? Oh, yeah. The whole turn staying afloat. See, because the Titanic went down in just the right way, the ship stayed afloat for so long. If the Titanic would end up listing so much, then everybody would kind of be out on the deck. Everybody would be dealing with the lifeboats. It would be a more simple story. It'd still be a tragedy. It'd still be a great loss of life. But, people would be talking about where they were and how they got off the ship. Because the Titanic settled from the bow and stayed stable the whole time, people were everywhere. So there's stories all around the Titanic from where if it was capsizing, they would be, on the deck, or, there wouldn't be as much of a story to the Titanic disaster. It'd still be famous. It'd still be a tragedy. It'd still be a ship that was lost on its maiden voyage, but there wouldn't be so much to it. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making myself clear here. But yeah, that would be a good what if video. That's very interesting. Thank you so much. Epic Mate, what do you think you think is the most inaccurate Titanic movie or Britannic? What is the most inaccurate, Titanic movie or Britannic? Well, I haven't seen the Britannic movie from start to finish. I've only seen clips of it. Honestly, I guess the Britannic movie from what I've heard about it. But didn't a torpedo sink the Britannic in the movie? It wasn't a mine. But I need to see it. I need to watch that movie before I can really answer that question. Let's see. Andy, I was more thinking about staying long enough to save everyone. What are you thinking on context there? The foul. If the Titanic didn't slow down, could it have avoided the iceberg as more water is passing past the rudder turning fast? Well, the only time, as far as I know, that water would be disrupting the rudder would be if they were like turning the engines in reverse, because the Titanic was turning. By the time the Murdoch gave the order to stop the engines, it takes a minute for the crew down in the engine room to stop the engines. So when the Titanic began turning, the propellers would still be turning to some degree. So I think the Titanic wouldn't have had a disruption to its flow yet, but I'm kind of guessing. Let's see. Dylan, video on the history of the Queen Mary. I am going to do that, but I am going to try to visit the Queen Mary before I do that video because I'd actually like to film it. I want to go visit the United States before I do a video on that. 3207, will you do a video on the Halifax explosion? Yes. Life of Mine, Bismarck video, question mark, exclamation. Yes, there will be a Bismarck video. Dark Mode, can you make clothes for younger people on your merch store? Interesting idea. For kids and stuff like that. Can you not select the kids size? I need to go back and take a look at that. If not, I will take a look. Thank you so much. Let's see. Cam, hey Sam, can you name every shipwreck you know? Oh gosh. Maybe we'll make that a challenge video for later. Hannah, my grandma was on the Queen Mary too. She said it was glorious. I do want to visit the Queen Mary too at some point. I really do want to sail on the Queen Mary. My big plan is to go over to Europe and then tour Europe. I want to visit Belfast. I want to go back to London. I want to go tour Paris, Germany, Austria, just travel all around there. And then when it's time to come home, I want to come home by ship. That's what I want to do. Show, I haven't seen the big Titanic model in a while. Would you guys like me to get the big Titanic model and show that in the stream for a second? Would you guys like me to go get that? William Thomas, hey Sam, out of every Titanic sinking theory, which do you believe the most? Honestly, it's kind of a combination of multiple theories. As far as the name of each specific theory, I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I will say this. I think the most accurate sinking theories to date are probably a combination of the ones that I like the ones that I see on Titanic Honor and Glory's site. And I also liked the one that Tom Linsky just did on his Part-Time Explorer, the live stream. I didn't go into it in my series videos, but he was talking about with the author Kent Layton on Honesty of Glass, that after the breakup, this part of the ship actually was massively structurally compromised. So honestly, I think all the animations and all the theories have some basis of truth, and you kind of have to play with them all to get the full accurate story. Does that make sense? Cringy5, thank you so much. Hi, Sam. I love your channel so much. Your videos make me smile so much. You're such a kind and funny person. You look so good too. Really? I look good. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for the 5, by the way. Julie, hi, Sam. Just joined. How are you? I am good. How are you, Julie? All right. Let me go get the big model. Be right back. This is my big Titanic model right here. This is the big model of the RMS Titanic that I have, and it is in good condition because I haven't been messing with it. This is a 1/350 scale. This was found by my brother in an antique store. This model kit came from the 1960s, and he built this and gave it to me for Christmas. It's an incredible model, and you should see the packaging. The packaging says that it's been 60 years since the Titanic disaster. I'm like, 60 years since the Titanic disaster? That tells you how old this model kit is. And he was telling me that the toughest part was actually putting all these strings on, because where the kit's so old, they were literally crumbling. So, I mean, it's a really cool model, and my brother is awesome for building this. He said he was in a real hurry to finish it. And I just noticed that it even has a little tiny, I don't know if you can see it, but it has a little tiny bell on the crow's nest. So, I mean, the detail on this thing is spot on. It's got a few minor inaccuracies from what we know today, but still from the 60s, it's great. Another super chat from B. Thank you so much. I've always enjoyed the story of the sinking Lusitania, and I was wondering, besides Titanic, what is your other favorite shipwreck story? Ooh, Well, actually, I read the book Dead Wake about the sinking of the Lusitania. Excuse me, and that's a good one. That's a very interesting story, very sad. Honestly, I don't really know. I'd have to think about it. Each shipwreck is different, and I like them each for their own reasons. You know, each one has its own interesting story. Titanic is the closest shipwreck to my heart. You know, like it's the closest. It's my favorite ship. It's the one that means the most to me. You know, I'd have to give that some thought. The Mary Celeste is very interesting. You know what? I think I'm going to keep it in the Olympic class, maybe Britannic. But if you want to ask me what my favorite ship is, it'd be the Queen Mary, since I have my own personal ties to it. So how's that? Dylan, video suggestion, history of the RMS Queen Mary. Somebody just asked me that. I will get to that. Gaming with Leah. Hey, Sam, I feel like I said this a million times, but can you please make a video about President John F. Kennedy and his wife, Jackie? Sorry if I have been rescinding this. It's fine. And yes, I remember you asking me that question before. And yes, I am going to make a video about him. As far as I'm concerned, John F. Kennedy was one of the greatest presidents in this nation's history. Leslie, what do you think is the least accurate sinking theory I've heard? I've heard the Titanic was sunk by a UFO. I have never heard that before. I actually found an article, I posted it in my community page a while back, that that a solar flare sunk the Titanic. I'm like, okay. But yeah, those theories are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure. To be honest with you, there's a lot of ridiculous ones. Andy, too, thank you so much. Sugar, what Olympic did during the sinking, the whole story. Interesting. You know, what all happened with the Olympic story. That'd be very, very interesting. I'd have to go in and take a look into it, though, because I'm not really sure. Ryan, make a video about the Estonia. I already did make a video about the Estonia, Ryan. It's on my channel. Corrupted, Titanic was a UFO, but the humans attacked her. But there's a problem with your logic. If Titanic was a UFO and it was just sailing along, wouldn't it just engage its engines and just fly over the iceberg just like that? So, problem with your logic there. Cutie Fox, solar flare didn't sink the Titanic. It was an iceberg. Yes. Wolger, hey Sam, have you seen Back to the Titanic 2020 full documentary? Yes, I have. It's really good. I wish you could see the wreck a little bit better. Ethan, do a video on Emperor Colonnemi ship. I'm not familiar with that. They were the super yachts of the ancient world. I will take a look into that. Thank you so much. Some commenter. Hey, Sam, I absolutely love your channel. I binge watched at least half of your videos. Keep up the really good work. Also, question, what would Olympic likely sink by if she did? It would all depend on how the Olympic got damaged. I mean, there's 1,000 things that could have sunk the ship. You know, ships are made of steel and iron. So, I mean, anything can sink him. It all depends on how it got sunk. Mr. Surf, you should do something at the start of every video of stuff other people have done besides your channel. You should do something at the start of every video of stuff other people have done because of your channel. Like, I'm not following. Are you saying like things that people have done to help support the channel? Lone, would you like to visit the wreck of the Titanic? Absolutely. But I do not want to pay $150,000 that it would cost to go visit it. Reset, can you cover the last surviving lifeboats of the Oceanic, the only lifeboat left from the White Star Line? I actually don't know all about those. I believe there's two that I can think of off the top of my head. One's on the Queen Mary, and I think isn't there one over in Belfast? Blake, hey Sam, how about a video looking at the priests and religious figures on board the Titanic? France Brown, Frank Thomas Biles. Interesting. All the religious figures on board the Titanic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it France Brown who actually got the pictures off of the Titanic? Was he the one who got off in Queenstown? Was it France Brown? I feel like it was. Let me know in the chat if I'm right. Shield Productions, what happened to Titanic Collapsible B? One of the collapsible boats, as far as the upside down one, I believe they just left it adrift. You know, a lifeboat went over to them and picked up Light Taller and all the men on top of it. And then I believe they just left it there. I assume it just sunk. Collapsible A, I believe they put a few dead bodies in it and they left it adrift. And another ship found it a few weeks later. Ty, have you read the book Titan? I have not yet. I have it, but I have not gotten to it yet. Al, what part or object from the Titanic would you like to see salvaged? There's two things. I actually really hope that they're able to recover the Titanic's radio, the Marconi wireless. I really hope that they're able to recover that. And number two, I would really like them to get the clock from the Strauss suite. That's what I would really like to see them recover from the Titanic. 700 Texas here. Why didn't they save the Titanic's lifeboats? They were repositioned. They were put back on other ships. You have to remember the Titanic didn't really have this famous vibe to it in the early 1900s like it does now. You know, it's just like people saying today, you know, why didn't they save the Olympic? Well, you have to remember we were in the middle of the Great Depression and people needed work. And ocean liners to people back then, they're not like what they are today. You know, to the people that lived back in the early 1900s, an ocean liner was no different than an airplane, you know? So the lifeboats would have been like that as well. It's just, people didn't have the same love for ships like we do now. We got two more super chats. Whoa, a 50. Holy cow. I'll get to that in just a second. TCH, $5. Thank you so much. We got a 50 from Jonathan. You are on fire, man. Thank you so much, man. All the support you've been doing is absolutely unbelievable. You did 50 last night, 50 a few nights ago. Jonathan, I cannot thank you enough for all your support, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, Sam. JFK is also my favorite president. May I suggest you read Rosemary, the Hidden Kennedy Daughter? It's a very good read. I will put that on the list. Let's see. May I suggest you read Rosemary, the Hidden Kennedy Daughter? I will take a look at that. Thank you so much for all the support, man. It really, really means a lot. Holy cow. You are on fire. Boom, paste. It's on the list now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Torpedo Run. Do you think the iceberg that struck the Titanic is still floating around? Well, technically, the water that sunk the Titanic is still around because, you know, you can't destroy water. It either evaporates or whatever. So the iceberg itself isn't still around, but the water that made up the iceberg is, if you think about it like that. Roger, 10. Thank you so much, man. Roger, Roger. Wait, Roger, Roger. What am I thinking of? Oh, yeah. For some reason, when I said Roger, Roger, I was thinking of those robots in Star Wars. I do not know what triggered that memory. Sally, do you know what happened to the Titanic sisters? Olympic was scrapped. Britannic sunk because she hit a mine. Some commenter, I am talking like the bow section and what time the iron and steel was made on the ship in the time needed of what era? Torpedo, mine, iceberg. I'm talking about like the bow section. Oh, that's the Olympic question. Well, again, man, it all depends on how the Olympic was struck. Just pretend that my Titanic model is the Olympic. If the Olympic had damage just like Titanic, she would have sunk very similar to Titanic. But what you have to remember, the sinking of the Titanic was very weird. I didn't get to go into it in my videos, but remember how I was talking about how the Titanic had a small list to port before she struck the iceberg? That was because they moved the coal from the boiler room 6 coal bunker when they put out the coal fire. And when they did that, they moved the coal from the starboard side to the port side, and they moved somewhere around 300 tons of coal. So that caused the Titanic to have a slight list to port as she was sailing along. When she struck the iceberg on the starboard side, that 300 tons of coal caused the Titanic to briefly stabilize. And that 300 tons of coal also helped keep the Titanic stable and prevented the ship from capsizing. Because the Titanic was already off on an even keel, it was already leaning 3 degrees to port. When she hit the berg, the water and the coal, at least briefly, caused the ship to be equal in weight again because the water was coming in on the starboard side, which caused the Titanic to stabilize. And that's a big reason why the Titanic never capsized. Thomas Andrews, the ship's designer, actually thought the Titanic would capsize in about an hour after the iceberg impact. So if Olympic had damage similar to that and there was no coal fire, Olympic would capsize. Corrupted. Did Britannic's bow break? Yes. Britannic's bow broke when it slammed into the seafloor, and then it kind of ruptured right around here, and then the ship just kind of settled back. I don't know why my stupid allergies. Leslie, what if Olympic was around today? Where do you think it would be located right now, and how do you think it would be doing? I'd actually be super worried about it because look at the Queen Mary. You know, the Queen Mary is very much struggling. Maybe the Olympic would have more attention because she's a sister ship to the Titanic, but, you know, who really knows? It's on the list, historic travels. Pablo, the salvage of the SS Great Britain from the Falkland Islands to Bristol, England is a very interesting story. I will take a look into that. Harvey, loads of people believe the iceberg have gone. I work on monitoring icebergs, and I can tell you there's more in these days than there was in 1912. Really? That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Anthony, if you were given a chance, would you save the Titanic? Whoo, that is a loaded question. My first answer is absolutely yes. I would do everything I could to save the Titanic. But, you know, you're talking about time travel and you're talking about the whole butterfly effect, you know. So if you change history with the Titanic, what repercussions would you make down the line? How much would history change? So if I lived in 1912 and I had no knowledge of what was to come, I would do everything I could to save the Titanic. But you have to be careful when you start talking about time travel, you know. It's whenever you start messing with history, you may accidentally cause more damage than you want to, even though you really do want to save the ship and do everything, you know what I mean. Ty, the book Titan was made before the Titanic disaster, so people thought that it was weird that the person who made the book, because it was about a ship that hit the iceberg. Yeah, the wreck of the Titan is absolutely freaky, you know, because it is very, very similar to that of the Titanic. Phantom 5, thank you so much. What condition do you think the Titanic's engine, turbine shaft, and propellers are in? Well, the propellers on the Titanic are in remarkably good condition because I believe they were made of copper, so they won't really erode. But everything else is rapidly breaking down. In the Returning to Titanic documentary, when you go back there, you can barely see the stern. You can't really see that much detail. But as far as from what they said the ship's stern was in horrible condition while the bow is still relatively intact. Tim, where did you buy that large Titanic model from? That's actually from my brother, and he found it in an antique store, and it was created in the 1960s, so that model isn't easily accessible. Let's see. Mr. Surf, are you ever going to do a video on the USS Missouri? I have a Lego model and thought that would be cool. Possibly. I have so many video ideas that I have a lot to get to. Let's see. Dark mode, is there any Titanic sinking footage? No. There is no Titanic sinking footage. And back then, cameras were so bulky and hard to deal with that you wouldn't be able to film anyway. And you got to remember how dark it was. Cameras definitely didn't have flash back then. Shield Production, Sam, in your sister's channel on the second main video of the Titanic, which part of your model did you break? Let me find it. I broke off some of the lifeboat davits. So you can see like how all the davits are there on there, but I broke off a few of the davits. This poor model, let me tell you. Error, hello Sam. Who is your favorite officer and why? Sorry for asking a lot. Error, don't be a sorry. I know you have to sometimes send in a question a lot of times for me to notice it. My favorite officer would probably have to be Murdoch, you know, because he, in my opinion, had the best attitude that night. You know, the captain said women and children first, but, you know, he's like, if there were empty seats available and there's no women and children around, get in the boat. You know, 2/3 of everybody who survived had Murdoch to thank for it. So let's see. Sir, hi, just a ride. What would happen if the Titanic made it on the first voyage but sank on the bay back? Would it be as famous? Well, it depends on how the sinking was, but yes, it would still be very famous. Maybe not quite as famous, but it'd still be famous because Thomas Andrews and all them would still be on board, the head of the line. So I forget the name of the show, but there's this time travel TV show. I saw like 1 or 2 episodes where something like that happened to the Hindenburg. It's like they changed history so the Hindenburg made it to New York, and then it was on the Hindenburg's return trip that it blew up. It sounds like it's something like that. What was that show? Does anybody know what that show was? I can remember that episode vividly, but I cannot remember the show. Life of Mine. Would the Titanic still be spoken about today if she hadn't sunk? Probably not. Probably not. As I mean, what made the Titanic so famous was that she sunk. Jedi Doctor. It was not Doctor Who. Whoa, so many questions. Marky. I can't pronounce your name. Hey, Sam. Thank you for this live stream. It will, due to the COVID restrictions, be one of the highlights of my birthday. Aw, thank you. Wait, I just lost your question. It just disappeared. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's highlights of my birthday today. Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I'm going to post your name in the chat. Everybody, wish her a happy birthday. It's already the 1st of May here in the Netherlands. That's awesome. Everybody, wish her a happy birthday. Poland, what would you do if you could time travel to Titanic, but you can't do anything, just look around? I would probably go check out the grand staircase and just go see everything. You know, I'd just go and check everything out. Go to the engine room, go see the boilers. I'd really like to meet Thomas Andrews. Let me tell you, if I was somewhere and I could see Thomas Andrews and actually watch him working and stuff like that, and I couldn't talk to him, that would drive me crazy. Balthi, are you going to do a video on the animals? Yes. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Dark Mode, what is your favorite song? Ooh, what is my favorite song? That is a tough one. I don't think I can answer that. I really don't think I can answer what my favorite song is. I'd have to think about it. I really would. Fox Starline, welcome to the stream. Welcome, Fox Starline. Let's see. Fankany, happy birthday. Michaela, that's so sweet of you. Thank you, guys. No problem. Glad to help. Huck, Sam, I've uploaded the trailer for my Lusitania series. All right, Huck, post a link to it in the comments section for this video when it gets uploaded or archived, and I will take a look. I'm probably going to stream for another 10, 15 minutes, guys. This was just a real quick, like, end of April anniversary stream. Adrain, where do you get your models from? From the Titanic Honor and Glory website, but the store is actually offline right now, so... Let's see. Tim, hey, Sam, love your videos. Rachel's vids, both are great. I love the information. I binge them while I'm at work. Also, I have a question. Do you do shout-outs? On occasion, I do shout-outs. On occasion, I do. Usually just we have to talk and meet me in the Discord and we'll talk about stuff. And if I see a channel that's up and coming and I think it looks cool, I always try to give them a shout-out. I gave the YouTube channel Inner History a shout-out a while back. A1, will you get aboard Titanic 2? I'm not really crazy about the Titanic 2. I've talked about that a lot. I don't like the idea of them building it. Jack, hey, Sam, would you ever visit the USS Constitution? If not, would you? Oh, I would love to visit the Constitution. I would love to go see that ship. I'd love to sail on her if I ever got the chance. Let's see. Devisky, why are all ships referred to as she? You know, that's a very good question. I never thought about that before. And I really don't know. I would imagine maybe it's a reference to the older days, you know, like captains or whoever built the vessel would name it after some like their wife or their girlfriend or something. I am not really sure. That's a very good question. If anybody knows the answer to that, please put it in the chat. Beyond History, I watched Inner History's live stream earlier today. Awesome. Oh, he was live? Cam, I was just reading the regular Titan, not the rewrite, the original, and there's so many words on each page. It feels like a page is a year. Thanks. That's interesting. I guess it just has to do with the writing style at the time. I remember when I was in college, I was trying to read Frankenstein, and it was killing me. Just because the writing style was so different. It was just, it was like, if I remember correctly, it was like a paragraph of story and then a page or two of self-loathing. Like, but apparently people liked that back then. Captain Alex, hang on a second. Did I miss a? $2 super chat from Terror. Thank you. I just wanted to say hi, Terror, previously Chronic. Oh, hi, Chronic. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the 2. Villa, Historic Travels. What don't you like about the James Cameron movie? Well, that's a hard question. As far as what I don't like about the James Cameron movie, there's not a lot that I don't like. It's just, I think the James Cameron movie is very good for what it is. Guys, give me just a second. 2 seconds. All right, we're good. All right. Gaming with Leo. Sam, have you ever seen the Zupper film? The Zupper film captured the assassination of President Kennedy. That's a topic. I have seen the footage of that. That's a very, very sad day in American history. Joshua, hi Sam. Is the James Cameron movie accurate? It's accurate in some ways and inaccurate in other ways. It's very accurate based on what we knew in the 90s. But James Cameron actually wanted to make the movie a lot more accurate than it was, but he just didn't have time because he was trying to tell the love story of Jack and Rose. If you want to watch the best movie that accurately portrays the Titanic disaster to a certain degree, it still has its inaccuracies, but you need to watch A Night to Remember. A Night to Remember is the most accurate recreation of the Titanic disaster. I have not watched it from start to finish, but I've seen most of it. But at the beginning of the movie, they christen the Titanic. They throw a bottle of champagne at the hull. The White Star Line didn't do that. And the Titanic in the movie sinks intact. We know it broke in 2. So it's got its problems, but it's still good. Mr. Surf, is there a way for us to contact you through the DMs on Discord? You just have to catch me, man. I'm not at my computer a lot because on the days that I'm filming, sometimes I'll check in with the Discord and sometimes I won't. And on days that I'm not filming, I'm usually busy with other stuff. Like I haven't stopped today. Like today was just housework day and stuff like that. And I had other things I was doing. So I've barely been at my computer. Even if it says I'm online, it's a roll of the dice if you catch me. Because typically if I'm browsing the internet and stuff, I'm usually on my laptop sitting on my couch. So I'm not even at my desktop. Leslie, if Olympic, Titanic, Lusitania, Mortain, Britannic, Queen Mary, Aquitanic, Queen Elizabeth, holy cow, we're all somehow in the same place, what would you do? I would pass out. I'm like, I remember when I was in the Uber going to the Queen Mary and I first saw the Queen Mary sitting there. It was kind of like a dream to me, to see that ocean liner. And I'm like, that's a real ocean liner. Like the Queen Mary 2 is technically an ocean liner, but that's a golden age ship. And when I was standing on the Queen Mary, like I remember I was standing right around here on the Queen Mary, looking back towards looking at the bridge of the ship. And honestly, in some ways, the Queen Mary does look like the Titanic. The Queen Mary is actually closer in looks to the closer in design to the Lusitania. But still, they all those ships back then shared a few commonalities. And when I was walking on the Queen Mary, I was like, this is similar to what it would have been like to walk on the Titanic. So Harold 5, did you look up William Carter? I have not. Thank you for the 5. William Carter. I have not looked into him. Let's see. Mr. E. Mr. E is in the house. And thank you so much for the $5, Harold. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will do some research. Let's see. Mr. E. Hello, Sam. What have I missed? Oh, we're just all in here chilling. We're just all in here chilling and having fun. Let's see. Living in New York. Photographer. William Carter. William Carter was born in Los Angeles in 1934 and graduated from Stanford University in 1957. He became a professional photographer. Interesting. Captain Alex, what is your favorite battleship? Mine is the Bismarck. Boo. Battleship. That's a tough one. As far as battleship shipwrecks, I don't really know if I have one, to be honest with you. I think they're interesting, but I don't really have a particular favorite shipwreck. And as far as warships, warships were never as interesting to me as the like ocean liner sinkings. TM Titanic, would you build your own Titanic model from scratch? I don't know if I have the patience for that. Joseph, he is the one who discovered King Tut. Okay, I knew William Carter was the one who discovered King Tut. Okay, I knew I heard that name before, but I didn't know anything. Is that really? Let's see, William Carter discovered King Howard Carter with English technology, he became faster than the ancient tomb. Interesting. I knew I heard that name before. Let's see. Railfan, is the true that the Olympic is bigger than the Titanic? No, Titanic was slightly larger, sorta. It was more gross tonnage than the fact that the ships were larger. A1 Kid, is the Titanic a small ship in today's standards? Is Titanic a small ship? Yes, Titanic is very small in today's standards. Tim, what is your Discord name? Historic Travels. Not hard to find me. Let's see. Megan, do you play Roblox games? No, I've never played one. Sir, another question. Will you be covering the rocket launches that went wrong, like on the Titanic? I briefly talked about that in the series video that I just did. And I also talk about it in my dedicated video on just the California. Zeppelin, hello, Sam. I've got a question. What do people mean by when the bridge went under, a wave came up the boat deck? What was the wave caused by? Okay, so what they're referring to is right around the time that the bridge went under, the Titanic rapidly began to sink. And as the bow went down, it appeared to look like a wave to the people on the ship due to the rapid acceleration of the ship as the sinking greatly accelerated. That's what that was. No, it was Howard Carter in 1922. Howard Carter. Okay, interesting. Villas, what do you think of the V-break? Disagree. Daniel, what do you think would have happened had the Titanic struck an iceberg but stayed afloat? Similar damage. Another ship would have come over if necessary. Otherwise, the Titanic would have just continued on its way. Jack, hey Sam, did the grand staircase have elevators in it? Because I heard they did from a book. What do you think? Yes, it did have elevators. They, I think, well, over in the UK and stuff, the British, they call the elevators lifts. But where Titanic was owned by an American company, they actually had them labeled as elevators. You can see the elevators in the James Cameron Goes to the Abyss documentary. Corrupted Kid, is Britannic bigger than Titanic? I believe by a little. We can actually test that right now since all these models are to scale. So we'll hold Titanic right up there with Britannic, bow to bow. And yes, Britannic is slightly bigger than the Titanic. Not much though, just slightly. Yep, lifts, I can confirm. Some commenter, would Titanic sink faster or slower if it hit a torpedo or mine? Depends on the damage. It all depends on the damage. That's the big thing about the iceberg and everything is it doesn't really matter what causes a ship to start to sink. It all depends on the amount of damage that it sustains. Fallout Girl, what is your favorite part of the James Cameron movie? You know what my favorite scene is? It's the very last shot in the movie. Right, like when they do that panorama and it's like you're flying towards the wreck of the Titanic, and then the camera flies into the Titanic's promenade. Like you go in right here, and then you see the ship as a wreck, and then the ship just blooms back to life. I think that is just the most beautiful shot. And then when Rose goes into the grand staircase and you see all the people there, I think that is just one of the coolest, most amazing shots in any film, period. Just how seamless of a transition that it was, I think it's beautiful. Let's see. Squeaky, are you going to get the Titanic Iron Glory Alpha Day 1? Most likely. Patrick, is it true the Edmund Fitzgerald was in a storm? Yes. Let's see. Tim, what is the link to the Discord server? Go to the video I uploaded last night. There's a link for that in the description. Jake, video suggestion. USS Indianapolis on shark attacks to sailors. Sorry for asking a lot. USS Indianapolis. Wasn't that warship that went down and then sharks? Yeah, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. I will look into that. I believe that ship is already on my list. Show Productions, what do you think the fate of the Queen Mary will be? I hope it's around forever, but I don't think that's likely. I think eventually they will have to do something with it. I hope they save her, though. Gaussy, hi, Sam. Would you rather make Titanic sink and be famous, or would you rather not let Titanic sink and her not be famous? Well, I don't ever want a ship to sink. Titanic was a tragedy. It was a great loss of life, so. Ty, what would happen if Titanic sunk by the stern? She wouldn't make it an hour. If the Titanic sunk by the stern, there would be no counterbalance. So see, as the Titan, you can see I damaged the bow too. My poor model has been through so much. If the Titanic went down, because the ship went down from the bow, she had the weight of the engines in the back kind of acting as a counterbalance, keeping the ship more or less on an even keel as the bow went down. Throughout the entire sinking, even though the bow went lower, the stern never really rose that much until the end due to the engines in the back, kind of being a counterbalance. If the ship hit from the back and started to sink, the weight of the engines plus the weight of the water, there wouldn't be anything in the bow section to keep the ship level. So I'd say in less than an hour, the ship would either capsize or just flip up and go down like that. The Titanic was a very sad, very unfortunate ship. But the way it sank was also kind of lucky for everyone on board because it gave them time to get everybody off. And that doesn't happen with shipwrecks. I mean, think about it. Because of the coal fire, the Titanic didn't capsize. And then the water came in just the right way that the Titanic stayed stable long enough to save, the 700 people that made it off. If the Titanic was very sad, but it was also very odd and very lucky in the way that it sank because it gave the crew time to save 700 people and get all the lifeboats off. Let's see. Villas, when the grand staircase imploded, did anyone get... I don't know about that. Nobody, as far as I know, no one survived that. Gaming. Sam, you love to break that poor model. It's not my poor model. Let's see. Life of mine, 2 a.m. here in the UK. I'm off to bed. Have a good weekend. All right, everybody. It is, we've been live for 1 hour. I'm going to take 1 or 2 more questions, and then I am going to wrap up the live stream for tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. Carl, you should make a video about the Bismarck's sister ship trips got bombed and sunk in Norway. I will take a look into that. Thank you so much. Bat, what is your favorite sinking scene in the James Cameron? Honestly, if you want to talk about from a cinematic standpoint, I think the way they did the grand staircase was incredible. I cannot believe that they pulled off the sinking like that. There was so much they had to deal with there. Mongol, okay, this is going to be the last question of the night. Mongol, do you believe the theory that Captain Smith killed himself? No. Captain Smith and Thomas Andrews were actually last seen on the Titanic's bridge as the bridge of the ship was beginning to go under, and Captain Smith said to Thomas Andrews, there's no sense in waiting any longer. The ship is going. It's time to go. So Captain Smith and Thomas Andrews were actually last reported on the bridge, and they jumped over the bridge wing and into the ocean as the Titanic was beginning its final plunge. So no, Captain Smith did not kill himself. He didn't survive the sinking, but he died. He passed away in the water after the Titanic went down. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for being here. This was a very fun live stream. I am going to go live again on Sunday. The live streams are going to continue as normal. Just where this was the end of Titanic month, I thought I would do a surprise stream tonight. And just a kind of a, thank you. I wanted to thank everybody so much for watching my documentary series, and stay tuned for the full film when I do upload it. Because right now my entire Titanic timeline series is in episodes, but I'm going to upload the whole thing as one big film. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, everybody, thank you for making Titanic month. Thank you for supporting my channel throughout the whole month of April. And just, guys, it's been a lot of fun, and I could not thank you all enough for all your support. So thank you guys so much. All right, everybody. Well, hey, y'all stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good night, everybody. And everybody who did super chats, thank you all so much as well. And everybody just for being here. Thank you guys so much. All right, everybody. Well, y'all have a good evening. I'll see you in the next one.